Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at TRUST's Fyru GXT258 4-in-1 multi-purpose cardioid microphone. Is it any good? Let's find out. So first of all, I should say thank you to Dom, one of our regular viewers, for sending this in to us for review purposes. We'll be sending it back on to Dom straight after we're finished with it. Hopefully you'll receive it soon. Anyway, I digress. So what are we looking at today? We are looking at TRUST's Fyru, or Fyru. I'm not even sure how you pronounce that word. Let me know in the comments. Please spell it out for me phonetically. That would be very helpful. I think I'll refer to it as the GXT258, or maybe just the TRUST microphone. That might be easier. So we have got a 4-in-1 microphone. So this has got 4 patterns. You've got a cardioid pattern, you've got a bidirectional pattern, you've got a stereo pattern, and you've got omnidirectional. So this is going to be suitable for pretty much most types of use. Predominantly from the marketing and the way it's kind of packaged, it's generally aimed at streamers, and the fact that it's got a little splash of RGB in there, clearly it's aimed at gamers stroke streamers. It is supported on the PC, it is supported on OS X, it's supported on PS4 and PS5, and takes advantage of a USB Type-C connection on the mic itself, and it ends up in a Type-A connection for your computer or capture device. So should fit pretty much most devices. There may be others that it will fit as well, but obviously that is the ones that they recommend, so that is what I'm recommending also. Frequency response wise, we're looking at between 30 Hz and 18,000 Hz, so yeah, pretty decent spread spectrum there. The microphone has a 200 ohm impedance and also has a minus 36 dB sensitivity, which actually seems to be a little bit on the low side. I'll be honest with you, I have actually gone through and used this a couple of times, done a couple of test recordings just to see if it works okay and what the sound quality is like. The sound quality is actually excellent, it really is, although it does seem that the actual gain is a little bit on the low side, which for some people, if you don't have a great deal of control over your gain, you may find it a little bit on the quiet side. But anyway, I'll let you be the judge of that a little bit later on in the video. When it comes to the name TRUST, now TRUST obviously implies that you should trust their products. Something which I found out already is on the box it actually states that it has a 24-bit 96 Hz sampling rate, but actually in Windows from when I've connected it and also from the blurb on the website currently, it actually states it's a 16-bit 48 Hz. So yeah, thanks TRUST, we trust your marketing implicitly. Well, no we don't. Anyway, moving on. So let's take a look. We're going to do a quick unboxing, go through what it's all about, look at what we get. We'll do some obviously practical sound tests. We will be doing some tests on the actual different pickup patterns. So obviously to make sure that it's going to be picking up certain things. Now obviously because of the way that we actually record things here at Mike's Unboxing, we can't really test it to its fullest capacity, i.e. multiple people all speaking at the same time, that kind of stuff. But we'll certainly go through and give it a bloody good go. So starting off with the packaging, as you can see, yeah, it's pretty nice packaging. And I suppose really it does reflect the price of it. Now this actually isn't a cheap mic. Generally TRUST products are what I would call to be on the kind of the more consumer friendly side of the market. They are effectively cheap and cheerful. This is certainly cheerful, but not exactly cheap. This retails at the moment in the UK somewhere around the £100 mark, so it is actually quite an investment. And obviously there is a lot of stiff competition from other brands such as Blue Yeti, all those kinds of things. So yeah, do shop around, look for the best deals. Obviously listen to the sound test later and see what you think of it. That is ultimately what it's going to come down to. So anyway, back to the packaging. So on the front here, it makes quite a big deal about what's going on. So you've got 5 colour options, not quite RGB. So you have got green, you've got blue, you've got purple, yellow and white. 4 recording patterns, as we said, perfect for streaming. And there is a mute on the microphone itself, which not really much of a selling feature, but I guess it's nice to have. On the side, it goes through some of the actual voice patterns, as we've discussed already in some depth. And on the back, we've got the specifications. And if we take a little bit of a close-up on this section here in specification, it does clearly say 24-bit 96 Hz is the sampling rate. Again, actually on the website, it does say it's 16-bit 48 kilohertz. And certainly that is all I can record in on OBS anyway. So that is what you're going to get. Taking a look inside the packaging, it's actually quite nice packaging we've got here. So you get the Trust GXT sticker, which is probably useful for somebody. You also get instruction manual, which goes through in actually quite some depth how to set it all up and what all the buttons do in those kind of IKEA-esque instruction style. So yeah, that's pretty handy. You also get the legal and compliance. All of it's nicely packed in nice styrofoam to keep it all nice and safe. And actually, when you receive it, it does look pretty decent. So we'll break down what we get here. So first of all, you get the actual microphone stand itself, which in itself is actually quite an unusual stand. Generally, we tend to get kind of traditional tripod stands or just very basic things, whereas this is actually a very chunky piece of metal. This on its own weighs somewhere in the region of about 400 grams. The total weight of the package with the microphone attached and the USB cable, you're looking at over 1,030 grams. So yeah, it certainly isn't lightweight. And on the bottom of the stand, you've got some rubberized grips there to keep things nice and steady, and also to help reduce those transmissions from your desk into the microphone itself. Now, obviously, if you want to, you can use this with a microphone boom stand or boom arm, that kind of thing if you wanted to. It does use the standard 5/8 jack on the bottom or screw thread. So yeah, if you want to, you can definitely mount this onto a boom. I'll put some links for some suggested booms in the video description so you can check those out. So if you perhaps don't fancy using this, you can use this as a ninja star and use a boom. Something which is actually quite unusual for these kind of stands is actually a little bit of adjustment. So normally it would be sitting something like that, but you can if you want to. There's a little screw on the back and this leg comes out and is adjustable, so you can actually adjust the height of the microphone depending kind of what you're doing, and then it just do the screw back up and it holds it in place. I'm not entirely sure if that is necessary. It seems to me slightly over-engineered, but certainly it's a nice thing to have. Also, there is a screw on the bottom which actually attaches the base to the microphone, which we'll show you how to do shortly. There's also a 1.8 meter USB Type-C to Type-A lead, which is all nicely braided, so that's a nice thing to have. Good quality cable. And then last of all, we get the microphone itself, which is actually quite an imposing beast. It looks pretty impressive. Somewhat on the heavy side, like I said, it's around about 600 odd grams. So yeah, when you combine this and the stand itself, it's actually quite a weighty piece. So the microphone itself, as you can see, is finished in this really nice kind of design element. There is an internal pop filter built in, so there is like a mesh on the inside of this to stop the pops, plosives, all that kind of stuff. We'll definitely be testing those a little bit later on. Obviously, if you want to, you can use an external pop shield as well, should you feel the need to. On the front, you've got two obvious sections here for control. So the top one, the big one, is the gain control. The button itself is a little bit on the wobbly side, not overly so, but there is a little bit of play there. The reason behind that is because it's actually a toggle for muting. So if you press the button in, you can mute the microphone, and when you mute it, the top section will go red to say that it's muted. There is actually some color feedback on this, so that's actually a really nice thing to have, so you know when the microphone's on or when it's muted. Underneath that, you've got an independent section here, so this is controlling your headphone gain. So you actually get real-time headphone feedback through the headphone jack on the bottom there, so you just plug in a set of regular 3.5mm headphones, and you can actually listen to yourself in real time through the system. Also, you can use those as speakers as well, so because this is a USB device, when you go into Windows, and actually it caught me out already, I was listening back to some of this when I started out, and I was like, I can't hear a thing. And Windows defaults to try and play back through that jack, so do bear that in mind if you're not using a headset. Moving around onto the bottom, so we've got our 5/8 screw thread, like I said there, and also there is a RGB button. So the RGB button, you can just press that and cycle through the various colors which are available. If you want to put it into eco mode, which is, yeah. Anyway, press and hold the button, and that will cycle between the two different modes. So there's eco mode, which basically when you choose your RGB or you choose a function on the top here, the light will stay on for about 5 seconds, then extinguish itself, so a somewhat more stealthy look. If you want the light to stay on, press and hold the button and the light will stay on. You can basically cycle through the two. Very similar to how RGB setups work on desktop PCs. Next to the button there is the USB Type-C connection, nice and easy to gain access to. And moving around onto the top, so we've got our mode button, which again lights up. So press the mode button and you can switch between the various modes, which we'll show you when we plug it in. So you've got 4 LEDs on here, and they give you obviously a visual feedback of which mode you're in. So when you've just got one light on, that is in cardioid mode. 2 lights either side is stereo. A light front and back means bidirectional, and when all 4 lights are on, it means it's in omnidirectional mode. So yeah, pretty straightforward and a very good visual reference to what is actually going on. Putting this together isn't as entirely simple as you'd expect. So there is a little notch on the bottom here, which matches up with the notch on the bottom of the stand itself. So you just put that in, and then you can put the screw into the top. For some reason, it doesn't quite line up as you'd expect to. So you maybe might have to kind of give it a little bit of a wiggle to get the thread started. And as you can see, I'm struggling already. And there we go, I think that's in now. Okay, excellent stuff. So that is now started the thread. Something which is a little bit unusual and kind of a little bit weird. There is obviously the pass-through there to get to the USB Type-C port. Now, depending on how well you line this up to begin with, it may be a slight offset, so just make sure that it is actually set up right, and then you can get your USB cable to go through there. When it's actually on the desk, it actually looks pretty good, and it's actually quite impressive. Again, because it's got those rubberized feet, it's not going to go slip sliding around all over your desk, which is excellent. So all you need to do once you've got that set up is to plug in your USB Type-C cable, which connects to the bottom. Again, you've got to pass it through this part of the stand, which can be a little bit fiddly, and potentially you could maybe knock it out. It's a little bit on the loose side in there, but it does seem to work very well. And then when you've got it on the desk, literally plug that into your PC and you can fire it up, which is what we're going to do now. So we'll do some sound tests, and then you can be the judge and see if this is actually the right mic for you. Okay, so now we've got it plugged in and recording. I'm recording the audio from the microphone into OBS directly. I've currently got the gain set to 0 dB. Just to give it a fighting chance, and actually on the microphone itself I've currently got it set just under 50%, so I'm going to raise that to about 50%. I don't want it to be overly harsh, so we'll see how that goes. Any adjustments I make to the audio from the microphone in Adobe Premiere I will put on the screen somewhere around here so you can see exactly what's going on. At the moment we are set into cardioid mode, so if I tilt this over you can see there is one LED on the top there, and we're currently set into the green pattern, and it's not in eco mode. The RGB lighting isn't particularly bright on this, and it isn't very offensive, but yeah, I guess it's a nice little touch, and just it's another visual aid to say, yep, it's definitely on and working. As I said before, if you press the button underneath, you can cycle through the colors. So there is the purple, then got the yellow, the white, blue, and back to the green there. So press and hold the button and the lights turn off. You can still see the mode on the top. That stays on for about 5 seconds or so. You can tell that's on. Or sorry, rather the lights stay on. So if we flip through the modes, so you press the button, that's now in bidirectional, stereo, omnidirectional, and then back to cardioid. So let's do the sound test. So if you want to turn up your headsets now, or get closer to your headphones or whatever, speakers, all that kind of stuff, then you can listen to this and see what it actually sounds like. Now, obviously, I'm not a professional when it comes to audio, so I'm looking for your feedback in that comment section below. So this is in cardioid mode at the moment, and actually I'm going to turn the RGB lighting back on. Be interested to see if that click came through. I'd imagine it would do due to the gain settings and microphones picking up that sort of thing. This is a condenser mic, not a dynamic mic, so it kind of is a little bit more sensitive to those kinds of things. So this is in cardioid mode. This is clicking to the left, clicking to the right, clicking behind, and clicking in front, so you get a sound test of what that's actually like. When I move over into the next mode, which is going to be the bidirectional, so this is now picking up in front and also behind the microphone, so we'll do the same thing again. So this is clicking to the left, clicking to the right, clicking in front, clicking in the rear. So yeah, not the most scientific of tests, but you can get an idea of where the actual audio is coming from. So let's move on now to the stereo test. So with stereo we can actually have 2 feeds coming from the actual microphone itself. So if I move over, so this is now coming from the left hand side, and now this is coming over from the right hand side. This is going to be perfect for things like musical instruments, that sort of stuff, where there is going to be a little bit of movement and a bit of shifting going around, all that kind of stuff. And some people actually prefer listening to a stereo output. I personally do actually like listening to stereo, especially if you've got headphones on. It just seems to give a more natural, just a better sound stage overall, rather than the kind of the fused dual mono sound. So that is the stereo, and now let's go into omnidirectional. So this is picking up sounds now all around the microphone. So this is me in front, and this is clicking on the left hand side, the right hand side, and behind the microphone, and this should pick up the most things possible. We're going to be completely silent now, and we'll see what the noise floor is actually like in this. So I'll be completely silent. So there are things going on. We've actually got next door having building work having done. They're having a new bathroom put in, so there's some things going on there. Obviously, we are in a kind of a semi kind of studio environment. There is no sound proofing, no sound treatment or anything like that on the walls in this room. It literally is what it is, and it's about 4 meters by 3 meters. We've obviously got 3 or 4 computers running in here. We've got all the electricity going on, lights, all that kind of stuff. So you may well be picking up some of those noises from the electrical devices, which I guess most people would do anyway. So anyway, that is a sound in the omnidirectional mode. So let's go back to cardioid mode. Listen out for the bump. I'm guessing there's a definite bump there. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a bump there. I think personally they should have probably gone with like a capacitive button on the top, like you get on AirPods, that sort of thing, to skip and play tracks, that sort of thing. That would have made a lot more sense. Although, realistically, probably when you've got your sound profile or your pattern set up, it's unlikely you're going to change it, unless maybe, I don't know, in some instances, maybe you're doing a voiceover and then you've actually got other things going on, or maybe you're doing an introduction and then maybe in a podcast you then want to open up the microphone to both sides. I don't know. It's probably something of a little bit of a niche thing, but yeah, I guess that could have been done a little bit better. But again, let me know what you think in the comments section. So anyway, I think this is going to pretty much wrap it up. You've heard what it sounds like. You've got an idea of the pricing, so around about £100 here in the UK. Thanks again to Dom for sending it out to us for review purposes. We'll be sending that back to you soon, so you can get up and get on with your streaming, all that kind of stuff. But let us know what you think about it in the comments section. Does the sound quality sound good? Is it decent? For me personally, for this particular room and the way we work in here, I do rely quite heavily on a lav mic, which I find gives me a slightly more deeper and a sort of slightly more isolated sound. It does tend to block out a lot of those other noises, primarily because it's attached to me, and also the fact that it's covered by my t-shirt, etc. So we've got a lot of noise dampening. This doesn't have any noise cancellation features built in whatsoever. So if you do want to add any noise cancellation, then you will need to do that in post-production or in kind of OBS or your particular streaming software. But anyway, overall, I think the sound quality, to be honest with you, is actually very, very good, especially considering the price of it. And I think this is going to tick a lot of boxes for a lot of streamers and a lot of gamers out there. But what I think isn't important, what you think is. So let us know what you think in the comments section below. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. And hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.